they live in a cell.
Oh! Hi, I'm Ange, and you might be wondering how I got here. I'm deathly afraid of bugs, but still wanted to explore the oldest rainforest in the world. I'll tell you a bit more. Daintree rainforest has been around for 130 million years, which means it's outlasted dinosaurs and significant Earth events. Because it's so old, it's integral in a lot of scientific research for AIDS, cancer, and other medical conditions. The first activity I want to share with you is river drifting, and this is when you drift down the river in a floaty. And you'll walk from the rainforest to the cool river where you'll do an upstream walk. In the hot, humid rainforest, a walk in the cool shallows of the river is welcome, although the water is really cold. The team that do the river drifting also provide a rashi for the activity if you'd like to borrow one. And they also give you a pair of river booties to walk through the river. Before you drift on your own, the team do a test drift with you and take you through how to maneuver the floaty down a smaller part of the river. My first run was chaos. After that, we went to a larger part of the river where, to be honest, it felt much easier to drift down the middle. We also did a fast part of the river that was a bit narrower through the mangrove trees, and although I thought I had gotten the hang of it, I was still bouncing off the trees. At the end of the drift, we sat in the shallows while the team told us about some of the history of this ancient rainforest before heading back to the site for cookies and water. This was a 2-hour river drift experience I did with Backcountry Bliss, and the price was $139 per adult. Overall, the rating I would give is 4.5 out of 5, and the reason is I personally had a really great time and loved the adventure of drifting and enjoyed the enthusiasm of the team there. I was a bit stressed out about there being crocodiles, but we were reassured that they don't come to the shallow, cool and fast-flowing waters of the mountains. I'd do this activity again in a heartbeat because it's a unique experience that might not be around because it's dependent on there being clear waterways to allow you to drift down the river. To go into the rainforest, you need to take a vehicular ferry across the Daintree River, which is a really cool experience driving onto the ferry. You have to buy tickets from Daintree Discovery Centre before heading onto the ferry, which takes you across croc-infested waters. The Daintree Discovery Centre is another 10 kilometres to get through some roads that wind through trees that look like they have lived during the dinosaur ages. Once you get to the Daintree Discovery Centre, you can walk through the treetop boardwalks to view the rainforest at an angle you wouldn't get to see normally. If you really want to get up there and get a good workout, you can also go to the top of the Canopy Tower, which is 112 steps high. In the centre, you can also see some wildlife that they have kept in tanks, and the kids will enjoy this, some animated dinosaur displays. You can also see one of the biggest strangler figs in the Daintree. I do wish that we drove deeper into the rainforest to Cape Tribulation, but unfortunately because of time constraints, but also because the area was still recovering from cyclone damage, we didn't do that this time. It took us approximately 3 hours from our hotel to go to the Discovery Centre and back, but I'd recommend longer so you can take your time to go through the centre slowly and do the walks inside. The cost of the ferry tickets were $47 return per private vehicle, and access to the Daintree Discovery Centre was $39 per adult, which included an audio tour, interactive booklet, and a 7-day pass to the centre. Overall, I'd give this a 4.5 out of 5 because it's an absolutely unique experience to see these ancient trees deeper into the rainforest. However, I felt the Daintree Discovery Centre was more catered for kids and families rather than adults. That being said, it was a really informative way to experience the rainforest, and I'd recommend it for everyone. A helicopter tour is a really great way to see the rainforest from a different angle. This activity, however, is a bit hard to rate for me because this was a flight that I discovered that my motion sickness now extended not just to boats, not just to cars, but also helicopters. So I did my best to enjoy the flight and keep it together long enough to film some footage so I could share the view with you. We booked this with Nautilus flights through our hotel, and there was a miscommunication where we ended up doing a 30-minute reef flight instead of the Rainforest flight that we intended. I'm actually really glad this happened though, because it was a great opportunity to see where the two World Heritage sites, the Rainforest and the Great Barrier Reef, meet. While we were in the air, the pilot pointed out different sights like stingrays and turtles swimming in the reef. But by the end of the flight, I thought I was going to pass out from the nausea, so I stopped filming and was sitting really still. This flight took 30 minutes from takeoff to landing and cost $1,098. I felt like the cost was a bit high for the experience and maybe not worth the value, but who am I to judge? However, it was still an incredible and unique experience to be able to see the two World Heritage sites together. As a result, I'd give this activity a 3.5 out of 5. The Ngadiku Dreamtime Walk starts at the Mosman Gorge Centre, where you meet your tour guide, who is part of the Kuku-Yalanji tribe, and then you wait for your bus. While you're there, you can browse the shops or take a quick toilet break before you start the tour. One thing that you have to be careful about is getting onto the right bus. So there are a few different buses that depart from this stop as well. So if you get onto the wrong one without your guide, then you might end up on a tour that you didn't bargain for. When we got to the campsite, the tour guide offered us insect repellent, which was a citrusy oil which I doused myself in because I'm scared of anything creepy or crawly. We then did a smoking ceremony by walking around the fire to cleanse and ward off bad spirits. At the beginning of the walk, there's a spider hanging next to the trail, and the tour guide pointed this out as their webs were 6 times stronger than steel. I have a bit of arachnophobia though, so I freaked out my tour mates a bit. He also shows you plants like the stinging nettle, one of the most deadly plants in the rainforest, and the black bean tree, which can be used for food or to make tools like shields and swords. There's another plant in the rainforest as well called the blushwood berry that has the ability to destroy tumours with EBC46 therapy, which is really cool. You get to see areas where the indigenous people held their traditional ceremonies and hear stories of the past, as well as seeing how they create paint from ochre from rocks found by the river. I'm glad I wasn't the only one who was scared of bugs, because while our tour guide was showing us the garunga stem that tiger balm and other ointments were made of, a horsefly landed on the lady next to me.
Large fly, horsefly actually.
Oh, they bite you?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Don't let them bite you actually, because they're actually weaning you in the skin, but they're leaving a scent.
Oh! Completely terrified of the rainforest, we then headed back to the campsite where we had damper with butter and jam with bush tea. A couple of us doused ourselves in more citronella oil again and enjoyed our meal. Although there were some bugs on this walk, I really enjoyed the cultural experience and learning more about the tribe and some of the significance of the rainforest in today's research. This was a 90-minute walk for $90 per adult, which felt decent value. I recommend booking this direct of the Cultural Centre as they will have the most up-to-date and accurate information for the walk. Overall, this activity rates a 4 out of 5 for me because it was culturally immersive and awesome to get an Indigenous guide to walk us along some significant sites. Besides being historically significant, the Daintree rainforest is home to many endangered species of plants and animals like the southern cassowary and the Bennett's tree kangaroo. The Queensland Government in Australia has undertaken conservation efforts to protect the Daintree rainforest. Some of what they've done includes buying back privately owned parts of the rainforest and restoration and education efforts as well. I've included some links in the description if you'd like to help the rainforest as well. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. The next time, I'll be sharing what the experience was like to stay at the hotel we were at, Silky Oaks Lodge.